It's the time for a package from China. It's time to enter the Pandora jungle. Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's just awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to do this unboxing and playing around with the new Pandora Portable. Yeah, they created something pretty damn awesome that we're going to take a close look at today. I already reviewed the older versions with the Pi and the Pandora box inside, but I just wanted to show you here on the channel. Oh man, this thing is freaking heavy. Okay, so what are we going to get inside? We're having a very long HDMI cable because we can use this thing portable, or we can hook it up to a television. We're having here the manual itself. As you can see, we're having here quite a good explanation. So no toilet paper manual today. Very nice. A screwdriver if needed. And we're having two spare buttons. And in here we're having the European version. Because I will have the European version, of course. The power supply, 12 volts, is in 2 amp. Just a basic power supply. Like with the previous model, we just need to remove the joystick here at the front. Alright, then we can flip it open. And I can tell you it is not going very easily to do. So, yeah. Okay, so we need to put the joystick over here. And we are ready to go. I really like the sticker that they're using on the metal plate. It's from Street Fighter 5 with Ryu, if I'm saying it correctly. Nevertheless, we're having 8 buttons, but we're not going to need it with Pandora Games 3D. But if you're looking at the layout, it is basically the same like the previous model. Some have 6 button, 8 button. This is the 8 button version. You can't use it with the Pandora Game 3D, for example, but with the Pandora DX, there is a way to configure all 8 buttons. We have the Wicked Wiggle stick. This is just a great stick to play some games. It's not to be compared with the real arcade parts. The same goes to the buttons. We have start, coin, pause, select LS button. We have an indication for the battery, and here we have the on-and-off switch. If you're looking at the older model, we're still having the ribbon cable over here, and when you close it, you can see it's getting a little bit squeezed between the control panel and the monitor. So I'm not a big fan of it, and I did try to force it back in, but that doesn't work. So that's a little bit of a bummer. So at the front side, we're having the speaker, and I can say it's quite loud. The first notable difference that I see with the normal Pandora box, we don't have VGA, and the reason why, because they are using it for giving the monitor signal. Quite a unique way. I will show you later in the video what I mean. We have a USB connection that we can basically use for adding an extra controller. The setting button for menu, volume control, and the HDMI out are still here. What I always find very cool, when you plug in the HDMI cable with the TV out, or the HDMI out, you can still use it like this, and we can hook up an extra monitor so you can play on the monitor itself and use another one. Nevertheless, pretty damn awesome. I think it's a very cool option. And at the right side we're finding 5 buttons, and these are needed for on and off, for the display itself, and of course if you want to adjust the color theme, or you just want to mess around with the brightness, contrast, whatsoever, you can all change it like a normal monitor. The display itself is a 30.1 inch display. This is, by the way, an IPS display. It looks colorful, so there's nothing to complain here. The input is VGA. That's a little bit of a bummer. I would rather see HDMI input or a digital signal. Okay, so let's take a close look inside and let's do a quick teardown. What you need to do is remove the 4 screws, and then you can just lift open the panel, the control panel, and we can look inside. If you need to do a replacement of the joystick of the button, it can be very easy, and it's not a big hassle if you need to do a little bit of a servicing. Yeah. Alright, so let's lift it up, and as you can see, it goes very easily. And there is a very long wire, but there are quite some new things in this device that I have never seen before. So let's start with the control panel. The cables and the joystick are all connected to the PSP over here, which you can see. And the fun fact is that this ribbon cable goes all the way back to the main board. And here you're having the old school EDA connector that has a conversion board that goes back to the ribbon cable, that goes back to the control panel. There's a completely new way that they, let's say, connected the main board to the control panel. I personally have never seen it before. So here at the left we're having the control panel for the monitor. And we're going all the way to the right. We're having here the Pandora box itself. And what I already mentioned, they did some minor changes over here because this is the newest and latest model. And here we're having the battery compartment because this makes this thing portable or some way, because this thing is very heavy, but you get the point. And last but not least, we're having here the Wi-Fi antenna that goes into the main board because we're having Wi-Fi functionalities for the Naughty Store. But let's talk about the main board because this is the latest version. I'm very curious what are we going to get. So let's see, I can do a rip and tear and then remove all the wires, and then I can remove it. Pandora Games 3D Plus. I just wanted to know for a fact what are we going to get. So this is revision 1.4, so it is indeed a newer model. And to make sure we're having maybe a new chipset, let's take a close look under the cooling element. The cooler itself is not really completely new. It's a new thing on this main board because the previous model was made from copper, and this is just, let's say, more like a basic version. The fan itself is not like a vacuum cleaner, so that's a positive one. It's an AM Logic S812B, so it's basically the same that I've used in previous models like the Pandora Games X or the Pandora Games 3D. Alright, so here at the right side we're having 4 chips in total. If I'm saying it correctly, it's 2 gigabytes of RAM. What I understand, this is exactly the same RAM with like the previous models, but we're going to do and compare in the future. Okay, so this is the 4800, so I'm guessing this is more like having different and more games. Still using everything on an SD card that we use wooden glue to put in place. And this thing has Wi-Fi capabilities for the Naughty Store. Yep. Alright, so let's take a close look at the software itself. Because it seems to be, this is the Pandora Games 3D Plus edition. It's the improved, or that is what they told me. So let's take a close look at it, because the menu itself looks exactly the same. A new background, and we're having here the new logo. Pandora Games 3D Plus edition. Indeed. So at the left top corner we're having all, category, recent and the search. So the search are all the functions we're having with the previous models. The search function is quite interesting. But let's talk about the games. We're having a support for PlayStation 1, NES, SNES, Mega Drive or Genesis, Game Boy Classic, Color and Advance. And the Mega Drive, they have fixed the decals with this one. So we found finally an upgrade. We're having PC Engine. Also, we're having Sega Dreamcast, Final Burn Alpha and MAME, or basically we're having Arcade, and we're having the PSP. So I'm very curious how these games are all running, and are there any few improvements. But let's take a close look at the function that we can search games. Also with the previous model, the Pandora Games 3, we already had this function. So quite nice, and I'm very pleased that they added this. It works quite well, as you can see over here. Let's search for Mortal Kombat, and as you can see we're having quite some different versions. Also includes decals, so you know what kind of platform we're having the game from. But let's talk about the settings, because sadly there is no news over here. We still have the image optimization, that is pretty cool. So for example, we have the option to use it with an HD filter, or we're having the scanline filter. I did some messing around with it also with other versions. You can, let's say, just have no filter at all. You have the pixel filter that polishes it all a little bit, and we're having of course the scanline filter. Then we're having the Naughty Store, but let's talk about the turbo mode. That is something that is convenient if you want to play shoot 'em up. So that's something I'm a big fan of. Alright, so it's time to play some games. Let's see how they are running. For example, PSP, Sega Dreamcast. I'm curious, I hope you too. So, consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and let's enjoy some gameplay. So the first game is sadly already a problem, because it glitches out big time. You can see that it is not working like it should be. And I also noticed that with this game I can't move. So I think it's more like some parts of the game can be used, some can't, because we don't have a D-pad and an analog stick. We're only having one joystick, and that can be a problem in different games too.
Round 1.
apprehended in the history of Cervantes. You win. Solo Thomas Eagles.
What about now? It's time to rock with the biggity back bumper. What about now? It's time to rock with the biggity back bumper. Bass, bump to the boot, to the boot, to the boot, bump to the bass, bass.
But you can hear a very big delay in the sound. So as you can see, sometimes with a $20 handheld I don't have the issue at all, but I have a shitload of screen tearing, and now I don't have any screen tearing, I don't see any, and I have just a big sound delay. That's a big bummer.
Time. One. Are you ready? Action!
Get ready.
Sonya wins.
No, don't let cheesy fight. Now you need to play. Very good. But okay, what is my personal experience? I really like the design of the cabinet itself or the portable casing. I have reviewed the old version and it's a big step up. Including the 30.1 inch IPS display, it looks amazing. But the only downside I can think of this device is that the inside we're having the main board that is modified. So basically what they are done is the VGA port has been used for powering or giving the monitor signal. And the big bummer of this is you can't upgrade. And the reason why, because I'm guessing this is a custom made main board. And if you want to find a similar one or you want to upgrade in a newer version in the future, this will not be possible. So let me know in the comments, what do you think of this? If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. Thanks for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.